Another edition of Beat the Closing Number presented by TheLines.com. My name is Eli Herskovich. You can follow The Lines on Twitter at TheLinesUS. You can follow our lead MLB analyst as well at Monoir on Twitter, just as it's spelled on the screen. I won't bother messing it up trying to spell it myself. But Mo, before we get started, remember to give the video a thumbs up and ring the bell to get notifications whenever The Lines releases a new sports betting video on any market, including Mo's day-to-day MLB bets, which you can, of course, find in real time over at thelines.com in our Discord channel. The link is on the top right-hand corner of the homepage. And also be sure to head over to play.thelines.com for your chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card daily in our free MLB Pick'em contest. Mo, before we get to our three games here for Wednesday's slate, June 21st, how did your bets go on Tuesday night?
It was a pretty good day. Added Astros late. That saved me. Faded some steam there. I feel like those steam fades have been pretty decent so far this year, to be honest. So I got maybe a bit lucky in the Dodgers game. Reed Detmers dominated them, but Kershaw wiggled out of a massive jam with some very goaty stuff from him late, and they took care of the Angels pen the way many teams have done so.
Yeah, I want to say second and third, nobody out when Kershaw was nearing or over 100 pitches. So definitely a Cy Young candidate, as you brought up yesterday, and his peripherals showcase that as well. So one of the games, though, that didn't go in your favor, we'll get to momentarily. Last one we're going to get to here on the Wednesday card. Definitely want to hear some of your takes about that. But first up, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time, first pitch. Mariners at Yankees. Seattle, a game below 500 as they drop the first game of this series. But they have a Cy Young candidate on the bump in the American League. Luis Castillo, 2.73 ERA. 3.27 FIP pitching tonight for Seattle. Johnny Brito, the rookie, and doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities. His fastball velocity ranks in the 83rd percentile per Baseball Savant, but then you look at his opponent's barrel rate, that is in the 12th percentile, so not great, and doesn't get a ton of swings and misses either, as his opponent's whiff rate ranks in the 15th percentile. Mariners, a justified minus 160 favorite. If you're looking at things from a pitching standpoint across the board, pretty much 60 cents towards juice for Seattle. How are you betting Mariners and Yankees?
I took the Mariners. Yeah, like you said, Johnny Brito, pretty ugly estimators so far, around 5.5 ERA. AAA has not been any better for him. Nearly a 5 xFIP in AAA with an ERA over 7. So he's been getting hammered in the minors this year too. Was better last year, but still not a ton better. And yeah, facing Castillo, who is elite and one of the best starters in MLB probably. And he just has a dream matchup here against a Yankees offense that this is honestly the biggest thing for this game for me is just, I don't think people realize how bad this Yankees offense has been. We referenced it a little bit a couple episodes ago, but worst in Major League Baseball since losing Aaron Judge. I mean, that's pretty much telling the story. And I'm still rating them decent, but well below where Seattle is, I think. So with a much better pitcher, like multiple runs better, probably in a 9 inning, in 9 innings of pitching, and a better offense, I can't see how Seattle is this short. I know that they're pretty big favorites on the road, but I think they should still be bigger favorites. The thing about the Yankees is this offense, I mean, they did this last year without Aaron Judge too. It's hard to believe it's a fluke at this point after they were horrendous when he sat last year too, when he was injured. So yeah, you can get a better price than I got on the Mariners. I think I got minus 165. It's down to minus like 155, minus 160. So the market definitely punching me right in the nose on this one, but I just can't get behind Johnny Brito having a competitive line here with this bad of an offense against an awesome pitcher in Castillo.
And if you want to join the market and punch Mo in the nose a little bit more, you can head over to thelines.com to price shop. If you want to bet the Yankees, or if you want to join Mo at his bet on the Mariners, you can do so as well. Find the best Major League Baseball odds over at thelines.com. So that is the first of 3 AL West bets, a 3-legged AL West parlay, even though Mo will not be doing any sort of baseball parlay tonight. And I think we both recommend that our listeners and viewers stay away from parlays, especially a 3-legged AL West one. But I want to make a Seinfeld reference here, Mo. I don't know if you're a big Seinfeld fan or have ever even watched the show, but in one of the episodes, Costanza goes, "You want to get nuts? All right, come on, let's get nuts." And I think you're getting a little nuts here back in the Oakland Athletics, soon to be Las Vegas Athletics, 1956 in Cleveland for the second of 3. The Guardians came back and took the first one last night on Tuesday. Cleveland, 4 games below 500, yet only a game back in the AL Central standings. One of the, if not the worst division in all of Major League Baseball. And the Guardians are between -175 and -180 favorites. Gavin Williams for the Guardians, their number 1 pitching prospect and number 1 prospect in their organization overall, making his Major League debut against Paul Blackburn. How are you betting this game? I guess I kind of gave it away with the 3-legged AL West parlay, but I'll reframe it. Why are you betting on the Oakland?
Yeah, you definitely already gave it away. Just a pitching advantage, I think, that the A's have. I will say I do sometimes have a history of underrating some of these call-ups. I think that it's maybe due to an information asymmetry where, like, the teams know more about these pitchers than the computers do and the numbers do, right? So they're probably more likely to call these guys up when they're more ready than the projections and the numbers think. Now, that being said, I gave him a pretty good projection right with the computers around league average. He's outpitched his peripherals by a lot at AA and AAA. I should say that as well. So if he does that again here, especially, it seems like the Guardians can just call up whoever they want and they will pitch well. Tanner Bybee. We've seen multiple guys this year. But, man, Paul Blackburn's been great this year. I mean, above average chase rate, above average called strike plus whiff rate, 86 mile per hour average exit velocity allowed. And it's a small sample, but I mean, he faced Tampa Bay and Atlanta in that sample. So that was 2 of his 4 starts so far. So that's pretty strong and pretty convincing to me that he's a good pitcher, especially after he had such a good season last year. Maybe I'm a little biased towards Blackburn last year too. He was definitely one of my guys last year. He made me a bunch of money. Market took forever to catch up to the fact that this guy was pretty good. He's changed the way he pitched a little bit this year. He's going with more fastball slider and less sinker change. I'm not sure if he thinks it's like maybe a tunneling thing where those pitches pair up better than his sinker change, but it's going well so far. I don't know if it's going to keep going this well. I mean, he's throwing like low 3s ERA and xERA, I believe. So I have him more like high 3s, close to 4, but that would still be better than Gavin. So if that's the case, I just can't get the Guardians this high of a favorite when they have such a pitching disadvantage. And that's honestly, that's bumping their offense way better than it's been. You know, like if the Guardians offense keeps being as bad as it's been this year, this line is horrible. But I'm projecting them to be better than they've been so far.
Going back to Gavin Williams, and you mentioned how he outpitched his peripherals even in AAA. He joined a long, long list of Guardian starters who have outpitched their peripherals if he does so tonight in his Major League debut. Pretty sure Shane Bieber and Cal Quantrill both atop Cleveland's list in that regard. But want to ask you, since you didn't reference it. Are you a Seinfeld fan? Have you ever watched the
I've
show?
watched some Seinfeld. I'm a fan of Seinfeld. One thing I should add about this game, just be prepared for an extremely brutal sweat if the A's do have the lead, because they are at an incredibly large bullpen disadvantage here.
Nothing like sweating some Oakland A's in late June against the Cleveland Guardians when they have a lead like last night. I'm pretty sure they were up 2-0 in that one. Now, for the third leg of our AL West, your AL West parlay, not our AL West parlay, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time, first pitch in my city, Chicago, Texas, taking on the White Sox. The Rangers 17 games over 500. Chicago, 11 games below 500 themselves. But like I mentioned with Cleveland, this is an awful division to say the least. And the White Sox, after coming back against the Rangers last night to even their series, are just 4.5 games back in the AL Central. And you back Texas, so I want to get your perspective on the call that took place at home plate when they said the Rangers backstop blocked the plate, yet I'm pretty sure the only thing he blocked the plate with was his glove and the baseball. Did you have a take on what ensued last night in the eighth?
I'm very glad I wasn't watching that game. I was watching Angels-Dodgers, thankfully. I changed it after they blew the lead, and I just was disgusted and didn't want to watch it anymore, and I'd rather watch Reed Detmers and Clayton Kershaw. But yeah, I was able to be alerted to this god-awful call, and it was a disgusting way to lose, for sure. I think that, man, the Texas bullpen has been a complete disaster. I think there's just no way Texas is going to win the World Series, even though they look amazing. This pen is bottom like 8, and they're so bad. But yeah, that was horrible. But this Texas pen has been a thorn in my side basically all season, and I'm disgusted with how bad they are. I'm disgusted with that call. I'm disgusted with the 35 cents of closing line value. I think I lost on that game. I got like minus 130, closed like minus 165.
Well, batters decided to fade your steam. You mentioned how you were getting pretty good results fading steam, like with the Astros and Mets game last night. So variance is unfortunately a thing when you bet on baseball, as you very well know. And looking at tonight's game and the rubber match, pretty much minus 110 both ways on the money line. Martin Perez taking on Michael Kopech. And the White Sox lineup, if you look at over the last 3 seasons, Chicago's ranked in the top 5 in each of those seasons when it comes to WRC plus against lefties, and Perez a southpaw. But this year they rank league average, not having Jose Abreu, or at least last year and the previous year's versions of Abreu. What he meant to this White Sox lineup against left-handed pitching definitely plays a role, but also Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez. Robert, not really in the MVP conversation. I think he would need to definitely make some leaps and bounds before he even comes close to Shohei Ohtani. I know you texted me about Corey Seager likely, or at least having a shot to win AL MVP if there was no such thing as Shohei Ohtani, around a minus 400, minus 450 favorite to win AL MVP. But back to the White Sox, not as dominant as they've been in recent seasons against left-handed pitching. And then on the flip side, Michael Kopech, who, if you go back to over the last decade, I want to say around 10 years or so ago, when the White Sox traded Chris Sale to Boston, he was a part of the package that was sent back along with Yoan Moncada. And Kopech has shown his abilities in recent starts of dominance himself, but it's been a mixed bag of results overall this season. 3.92 ERA, 5.31 FIP. And if you go back to his last start, only 1 earned run allowed in 4 1/3 innings pitched against the Mariners over the weekend, but 6 walks. So command, as you and I both know, could be a problem for Kopech. So you're back in the Rangers as the final leg of the AL West parlay. Why are you back in Texas, Mel?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same deal as I was seeing with Cease yesterday, in the sense of another pitcher who, like you said, the walks have been an issue, and Texas has a pretty disciplined lineup. They don't swing outside the zone very often. I don't think I have Kopech rated as strong as his ERA or even all that close. He has been very good lately. He was atrocious early in the season, but has cleaned it up some. But I think, honestly, the biggest thing for me here is I think I'm just higher than the market on Martin Perez. I know his results have not been very good this year, but every time I look at his peripherals, I'm not seeing much different from last year. Swinging strike rate, chase rate, these are basically identical to last year. Even with the new baseball and a harder, how much harder people are getting hit this year, he's getting hit very slightly harder, but not enough that it's setting off any red flags for me. I think he's still a pretty solid, roughly average starter, and that's right where I think Kopech probably is. So I have these pitchers rated pretty similarly, which I think is correct. And the Rangers obviously have a far superior offense, far superior defense. So I'm just not seeing how they can be even money here. Given all that, I think that that's pretty much without question that they have a way better lineup and a way better defense. So just ready for the Rangers pen to stick it in my eye again here, but I think that this is just a bad price. It's starting to come up a little bit. I'm seeing some minus 115s mostly now, but I still think that's too short. I'd bet the Rangers probably up to minus 120 maybe. I think is probably still okay. I just don't think Kopech is as good as the market, and I think Martin is just pretty decent when his numbers are not saying he is, but the peripherals are still pretty good.
And last year, he was definitely a good pitcher to back. I know you were talking about, at least yesterday, some pitchers that have, or Blackburn it was today, a pitcher that you cashed on a bunch last year. Perez, definitely a profitable pitcher to back as a dog, as Texas was not nearly as good. And Bruce Bochy coming into town certainly helped bolster and pretty much solidify this team, on top of the fact that they have one of the best offenses in all of baseball, even though Jacob deGrom is on the shelf after signing a massive contract with the Rangers this past offseason. But one thing to keep in mind for Texas, I know you have had your fair share of struggles backing this Rangers team and their bullpen especially, but you would have to think that Burke and Smith would be available. They pitched on Monday, likely getting the day off yesterday, even though it wasn't a safe situation for Texas when they blew the lead. But at least Smith, you would have to think, is available tonight for the Rangers.
Smith, who is somehow getting people out this year. I don't know how, but it's working for him.
Former Atlanta Brave relief pitcher.
I did not lose any sleep when the Braves let Will Smith go. I thought he was mediocre, and then he was very bad after they let him go. But I don't know what he's rediscovered. He looked okay to me when I watched him close out the other day.
Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't blow a lead tonight like the Rangers did on Tuesday night. And I want to say the first lead that you lost with Texas going back to April, before the Reds even got hot, right? I remember that was one of our first shows of the season, and the Rangers blew like a 3 or 4 run lead in the 7th or 6th. Okay. Well, hopefully Will Smith and the Rangers don't blow a 6-run lead tonight. But that'll do it for this edition of Beat the Closing Number. For Mo Noir, you could follow him on Twitter at Mo Noir. For myself, at Eli Herskovich. Remember to follow The Lines on Twitter at The Lines US, and head over to The Lines Discord channel to get the rest of any of Mo's MLB bets for tonight if he adds anything in The Lines Discord channel. The link is on the top right-hand corner of the Lines homepage. Also, play.thelines.com if you want a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card in our daily and free MLB Pick'em contest. For Mo and for myself, Eli Herskovich, thanks for watching and listening. So long, everybody.